Hi, it has been a while since I filmed a YouTube video again because I'm busy. So I have some updates. First, basically I'm going to go through my test knits. In my last video I mentioned that I'm in 4 test knits. So I'll give an update on those, and then I have updates on a couple, just very small amount of yarn that I've bought. And then I can just talk about some current projects. One of them I'm going to complain about because I have thoughts. Yeah, so test knits, yarn acquisitions, current whips, complaints. It wouldn't be a Claws Out Yarn video if not. So, hi, I'm Katie. I run Claws Out Yarn Company. I'm based out of Boston. I'm a yarn dyer and I've been knitting for 20 years. Ugh, that's kind of crazy to say. I'm turning 30 in a couple months. Anyway, also, happy Pride. It is June 1st today as I'm recording this. It might still be June 1st when I put this out. I don't know when I'm going to edit this. But happy Pride. So we can dive into the test knits first. First thing is that I finished this. This one that I'm wearing. Let me get a little closer to you. This is the staple tank, which I test knit for Perfectly Knotted, Claire Jackson. This is the first project I've ever done that had bust darts, and the first project I've ever done that had negative ease, which is really fun. So negative ease, if you are unfamiliar, means that the finished size of the garment, the finished dimensions, are smaller than the dimensions of your body, so it's a tighter fit. I will say that first of all, I loved this. It was so fast. This is kind of, there's a better view. The bust darts are in here. Kind of hard to see right now. I didn't have to do a lot of them because there isn't a huge difference between my, the fullest part of my bust and like my waist and stuff. But I did them anyway and it was really cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, so you can see it's kind of like a little loose. So I think I already want to make another one and I'm going to make it in a size down. Maybe even 2 sizes down to really get like a fitted look. But I love this. I love this so much. I've worn it so many times since I made it already. And I finished it like a week and a half ago. And that will be coming out soon. So it's currently still in testing, but it has an early June release date. So this took like just under 2 skeins of DK yarn to make. I think I made a size 7. This garment is sized from your upper bust. So when you're choosing which size to make, you measure from around here, the uppermost part of your bust, not your full bust, which is kind of interesting. It's the first time I ever did that. And I think that's the reason that I ended up making a size that's a little bit bigger than like suggested, because I didn't notice that till I'd already filled out the tester application form, so my size was a little bit off. But I still love it. It's great. I've worn it over things. I've worn it under things. I wear it by itself like this. It's perfect. The weather in Boston, I feel like I talk about the weather in Boston in every single video I make, but the weather this spring has been weird. It's been very rainy. It's been cold, but then also like we're gonna have our first 90-degree days of the year this coming week. So it's kind of like all over the place. So this is a really good piece to wear for like when it's not super hot, but it's also like it's too hot to wear long sleeves, but it's not hot enough to not wear wool, you know what I mean? So really excited about this. This was my first test that I finished, test 1 of 4. So it's done, which makes me really happy. This is actually my only finished object. Sorry, reorganizing. This is my only finished object since my last video, but I have started plenty more, don't you worry. So I think last time I mentioned that I was making the horseshoe crab sweater, which is in testing, and I had only done like the collar, but now Look at that. I'm on the yoke. I'm like maybe like a third of the way through the color work. I'm loving it. You can see these are the horseshoe crab tails, and then these are like waves that are around them. So it's got, so we've got a collar, which is really cool. It's this super fun folded collar that I'm not going to tell you any more about until you get the pattern. And then so basically the color that the collar is then becomes the color of the horseshoe crabs later. So this one I have kind of put off to the side for a couple weeks, but I am diving back into it because a lot of my other projects right now are like fingering weight. They're a little bit not as much progress, but this one and then another one of my test knits are worsted weight. So they're going, like they should be going a little bit, they should be going a little bit further, but they are faster, but they're also color work. So, and this one, let's see, it's the inside. There are my floats. Are they the prettiest floats I've ever done? No. No, they're not. But they're pretty good. I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't catching them properly at the top, but now I am. So, and for this sweater, I'm using my yarn. Oh crap. See, this is what I get. Just knocked some stitches off the needles. Okay, while I'm doing this brown color is from my Yarns of the Commonwealth Boston-based collection. It is Make Way for Ducklings, based on the statues in the Boston Public Garden. And then the greenish teal color is actually Friends of the Public Garden, which is from that same collection. It's inspired by the bridge that goes over the lagoon in Boston Common, or in Boston Garden. So here they are next to each other. So it's really fun. I dyed these and now they're becoming this beautiful sweater. So hopefully, once I'm done with the color work, which like I said, I think I'm about a third of the way through, once that's done, then be moving on to sleeves and just hopefully zooming right through the body. And then the body is going to be all in the green color. It'll be in the other color, which is super cool. It's a really cool construction, really cool sweater. I'm very excited to see how this one turns out and to see how yours turn out. The other worsted weight project that I'm working on is also a sweater with sea creatures. Because that's kind of like the, it's fish girl summer. So this, which I'm further along the yoke, I'm more than halfway through the yoke on this one. This is and sorry, real quick, this sweater, horseshoe crab sweater, is designed by Meredith, the leaf hopper on Instagram. She has other patterns that have ants and leaf hoppers and other bugs and stuff, and she's like one of the coolest people I've ever encountered on the internet, and now we're friends. So that's this one. This sweater, fish sweater, which I've been working on a lot recently actually. This one is, I'm making this short sleeved, but it's also in worsted weight, like a light worsted weight. This one is designed by Sweater Weather Ceramics, Amanda. She's amazing. She is a New Englander. She lives in Vermont. And she also does pottery, which is really cool. I have one of her mugs. And I'm just really into this pattern. Look at my little fishies are coming through. You can kind of see. And then over here, the motif I just started doing, which hasn't, but here, this is going to be the sun. So there's going to be suns and then sardines. And so this sweater I'm also making out of my yarn. This is yarn from my Moonstruck collection, the That's Amore collection, which came out in February. So the blue color is La Bella Luna. And the orangish color is Why Do Men Chase Women? So these are colors based off of the 1987 movie Moonstruck, starring Cher and Nicolas Cage, which everybody should watch at least twice a year, in my opinion. So these tests are both due in June, which is now this month. So I am working on getting those done. Very excited to be able to wear them. Like I said, this one The sardine sweater I'm making short sleeved, so it'll be a nice like transition piece. And then this one I've learned how to do ladder back jacquard for the first time, which is a method of catching your yarn in like floats behind your work, but it's basically like I'm adding a knit column on the back of the work by having a purl column in the front. It's really cool. The pattern has a lot of information about how to do that and how to like make that technique work for you. So that's very cool. I'm really excited about this one. I'm also really excited to block it. Obviously, like right now it's all kind of scrunchied up on my needles because my needles aren't long enough to like stretch everything out. So yeah, this one, like once I get to the sleeves and split for the sleeves on this one, it'll be really fun to see how the how everything kind of flattens out a little. And then when it blocks, it'll be like amazing. And then my last test knit, I don't even think I showed you last time because I had literally done like one triangle of it. But it is a dress. It is a fingering weight dress, which is bold of me. It is due at the beginning of July. I'm also knitting it in bare yarn because I intend to wear it for like bridal stuff because I'm getting married next year. So I want to wear it for bridal stuff, so then it has to be white, but I probably will wear it less after that if it continues to be white. So I'm making it in bare yarn. That's just like one of my bases so that I can dye it later. But I played myself because this, I decided, I don't know why, I could have just bought spare skeins to make this out of, but instead I decided to knit it from a cone. This is like 4,000 yards. I think this is like a kilogram, maybe more, of yarn. I forget. Which is it's the same base that I use for my my sock base, but it's in a cone. It's from the same supplier. So that means that this dress, the lighting it's kind of freaking out. I can really only knit this at home because this is not really portable, unless I guess I was on like a really long car ride. So I'm working on this right now. Let me put this thing down. Right now, let's see. I just joined in the round recently. This one is also negative ease, so it'll be tighter through the waist, through the top. So this is kind of, I've got this. So I've got the bust pieces, and then I've joined in the round. There are also very small back pieces, so these will be on the back. And then I'm knitting it just like even in pattern now for a little bit, and then I'm doing waist decreases, so I have to do some math to figure out how much of that I need to do. And actually, I'm just gonna knit on this a little. So that is something fun. It's just and this one is in testing for Knitting Flem, who is an Italian designer. She's like a designer and she's also in school and she's working really hard doing a bunch of things and she's awesome. So I'm really excited to make this. I'm a little bit behind the other testers because I have 4 tests going on. 3 now, but everyone else's dresses look really beautiful. So I'm super excited to have this done and then I can wear it and it's gonna just be lovely. The official name of the dress is the Peonia dress, which I just love. It's so pretty. And the design is like this top thing that I've showed you, like the 4 pieces, but then it's gonna come down, like hug the body and then go into a fully round skirt in the same pattern, which is really exciting. The pattern is mostly like, obviously there's shaping and things, but it's like a broken rib pattern, which just makes it like more interesting to look at, which I love. So I saw this one and I was like, I need to test it immediately, and then I didn't think I would get accepted, so that's how I ended up in 4 test knits. But that is just the hubris of being a knitter, I think. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna keep working on this, but first I have to tell you about a thing that I just did today. Okay, so, as I mentioned at the top, if you don't know who I am a yarn dyer, like I said, with those 2 sweaters that I'm working on, and this dress that I'm gonna dye in the future. So I just actually a couple weeks ago launched a new collection. It is a revamp of a collection that I launched in April of last year, but I gave it a refresh, and so that's my next like dyeing adventure. But I have a lot of yarn, dyed yarn, left over from other collections and orders and things. So I am running a sale through the month of June. It is labeled as the summer solstice sale. So my partner and I went through all of my yarn this morning and like refreshed my inventory and double checked that everything was right. And then now, all in stock yarn on my website is going to be 15% off for the month of June. Automatically, you don't have to enter a code or anything. And from those sales, 10% is going to be donated to Bagley, Bagly, which is a Boston area organization that is led by youth, and it is supporting queer and trans youth in the Boston area as they navigate their identities and need support and resources. It's a great organization. So for Pride Month, that's what I'm doing. Which is, I'm very lucky that yarn dyeing is, it's one of the joys of my life. I absolutely love doing it, but I'm also lucky that it is not my main form of income. So I am able to use my proceeds and donate to organizations. I try to do that all the time, whether it's donating to, like this, donating to queer organizations or to abortion funds or to families in Palestine, or in April I did an Earth Day sale and I donated to the Ocean Conservancy. So I'm really lucky that I'm able to do that because I have the wiggle room with my primary job, where this is not, I won't be like financially hurting myself if I'm also giving money to other organizations. So I just wanted to note that and mention that in this video because I feel like sometimes I'm not always talking about my yarn dyeing stuff on this channel, and I should be because it's cool as heck, I think. And I'm very proud of that work that I can do. So look at that, I finished a row. Okay, moving on to, what did I say I was going to do? Yarn acquisitions? Okay. I am very proud of myself. I actually have not bought that much stuff, that much yarn since my last video. Most of the yarn that I have bought has been like bare yarn for dyeing for that new collection launch that I mentioned, which makes sense. So, but I have gotten to do a couple of yarny things. So a few weeks ago, I was at a bachelorette party in New York, like the Hudson Valley area. Not my bachelorette party, for a very dear, close, wonderful friend of mine who's getting married in a couple weeks. That was an excited face. But on my way out of there, I was like, well, I have to see if there's a yarn store out here, because I'm not out in that part of New York ever, really, or very often. I think it's actually pretty close to where Rhinebeck is, but I've never gone to that. At this point, I don't know if I ever will, because I'm always doing something in October when that's happening. But yeah, so we were staying in like Saugerties, New York, and then I looked up and it turns out there's a place in Kingston, which is like a 15-minute drive, and I was like, great. So on my way home from there, I stopped there, and So it's Yarn Farm Kingston. This bag looks massive. I didn't buy that much stuff. This is just the size bag they had. I bought 2 things that are lovely. They are a very cute store in Kingston, New York, and they prioritize yarn. People are being loud outside. They prioritize yarn, obviously, from their region of New York. So first I got this, which is beautiful. This is some sock weight yarn. It's a merino nylon fingering base from Barn Yarn. And it is called Lemon Fizz. Checks out is the base. And it's just so pretty. Like, I really like when I go somewhere to a new place, I really like getting a sock yarn. Just because, like, I'll make something out of it eventually. And this is so pretty. Look at that sock yarn. Look at those little speckles. I'm in love with her. So that's one thing that I got. And then I got this skein, which is from Into the World Yarn and Fiber Co. World, WHIRLED, like a whirl. This is on their Dresden DK base. So this is a DK yarn. I didn't see this when I bought it, I just saw this. The colorway is Butter on Bacon. Sure. Why not? But look how pretty this is for like a hat or something. I really love this. It's really, really soft. This one is 100% superwash merino. So both of these are superwash bases, which is my jam. I know people have their issues with superwash, but I love being able to put my knits in the laundry. So when I'm blocking stuff, it's usually going in the laundry unless it's non-superwash, which I almost never use because I like the laundry. So yeah, this one is really stunning. It's like, I wish you could feel the squishiness through the camera. So that was a couple things. That was just like, you know, I'm out here on this trip. I'm probably not going to come back to this part of the country for a while, so I might as well. And then, like 2 weekends ago, I was out in downtown Boston. I went to brunch with a friend, and then I looked on Instagram and I saw that the New England Open Markets was happening and that they were like actually pretty close to where I was out for brunch. And I knew that my friend Kristen, who is East Coast Yarn, was there. So I made a beeline. I went and found her. And I got, so you might remember I went to, hold on. Is this what I wanted? Yes, okay. So back in April, I went to the Fiber Witch Festival. I stopped at Kristen's stall and I got this, which is her colorway for the festival. It's called Herbal Elixir. It's really, really beautiful. And at the time, I was gonna make a little scarf for my neck, which it's still an option. It's still a pattern that I want to make. But then I saw this a couple weeks ago at Kristen's stall. It is Herbal Elixir on her lace weight Surrey base. It is so soft. I cannot explain. So now I have both of these. They're the same colorway. Obviously it looks a little bit different on the Surrey, which is this one. But now I'm thinking, hold these together, make the softest hat in the world. Because this base, her DK base, is superwash merino. It's already super soft. And then obviously alpaca is like insanely soft. So I'm thinking that is what I'm gonna have to do here. So that was exciting. I'm so excited that she had that colorway available. And then I also picked up this, which is on her sock base. It's the colorway Water Lily, just because it's so pretty. Like, are we kidding? Look at this. Her yarn, her yarn is so pretty. Kristen is amazing. So I'm obsessed. If you're local to Boston, you should find her on Instagram because she is always at markets and like around. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And those are all my yarn acquisitions. So that's 4 skeins of yarn in probably like 6 weeks, which is pretty good for me. I haven't bought anything online, I don't think. So pretty good for me. Let's dive into my whips so that I can get to the complaining portion of this video. Okay, so when it comes to current whips, I'm always all over the place. Also, I'm aware that like those test knits are whips, they are works in progress, but I'm not counting, they're in their own category. So if you have been following me, you know that I have a goal of knitting through all of my sweater quantities this year, or at least like doing my best, because there are a lot of them. So I started one, when did I start this? Sometime in May, I don't remember, which I'm very excited about. Here she is. This is gonna be a very nice, like basic summer staple. This is it's going to be the Sunshine Tee by Andrea Goggin, whose patterns I really like. I've made a number of them in the past. I think they're great. So that is the plan for this yarn. Let me show you again. Hello. It's beautiful. It's warm. It's neutral. It has like the tiniest hint of tonal variegation in it. But this is Quiet Atlantic by Summit and Skein, who is an internet friend of mine and a dyer based in Ketchikan, Alaska, which is super cool. This yarn was, she did a, God, what is it called? She did a collaboration with another dyer on Ireland yarn. So this is Quiet Atlantic Ireland yarn. It's so funny because I also have a colorway called Atlantic, but it's like blue. And I like that we have 2 very different interpretations of the same ocean. It's really cool. Yeah, so I love this. I think this is round like 3. I just joined in the round for the body. This piece is worked seamlessly, but it is, it's one of those ones with set-in shoulders, so you knit the back first, and then you knit like the right front, and then the left front, and then you join the front together and knit that together for a while, and then you do the body. Fun thing about this pattern, the pattern itself comes with instructions for stripes, like thin stripes. I decided not to do that. There's also, like, it's very easy to just not have stripes. I think if I make another one of these, if I like the pattern enough, which so far I do, I would do that. It looks like the stripes kind of, the pattern is well oriented so that the stripes are never, you're never having to change colors in like a crucial area. Like there's a note in there that for the joining the body in the round section, you're always going to be working in your main color, so you don't have to make a color change on that row, which is kind of an important row. That sort of thing, which I just really appreciate that attention to detail. I've made and tested a couple of Andrea's patterns before, and I think they're really great. So this one, I've owned it for a while, but I finally was like, you know what, I need a t-shirt. It's gonna be hot out, and this is a sock weight, like fingering weight situation, yarn based, which is great. So I'm very excited about this one. This is not the one I'm complaining about, obviously. I did set this one aside after I joined it in the round just because I was bringing it to work, but I'm pretty close to needing my second skein of this, and I was like, for some reason that like always paralyzes me. I'm like, oh, I can't bring this anywhere because I don't feel like winding a ball of yarn, and then like, what if I run out of yarn? Like, girl, it's I have this much. Like that's a pretty decent amount for a sock weight. Like this will take me a while through the body, so it's just me being paranoid. Woohoo. But yeah, I'm really loving this. The short row shaping helps form the back, which I really like when that happens. It kind of makes it like, and look at that, it's kind of see-through, but like not enough that like I'd have to wear something under this at work. But also like, I don't know, it's very flowy. I'm really into this. And a fun thing about this pattern, there's no ribbing for the hems and collars and stuff. It is all like knitted folded hems, which is super cool. I love a folded hem. Like if I'm making a hat, I'm always making a folded hem or folded brim or whatever. I just think it's fun. It gives it a little more like oomph. So I'm excited to add those to this. I'm also excited to now be knitting in the round and not have to purl ever again for this sweater, because doing all of that, like the top part, doing that back and forth with a lot of purling is just exhausting. I did actually teach myself how to knit backwards, but it's obviously much slower than knitting or than purling for me, so I'm not going to be using that as a technique. But if I have to, if I start another project that is like this, maybe I will. But so that's this one. There's this shirt, which now I really want to work on more because it's so pretty. Put that there. My next one, this I started actually the day that my collection launched a couple weeks ago. So because I'm a content creator, I'm not, but I needed to have something that I was working on to film a video for Instagram to share that the collection was live. And I was like, well, I have to do something that's my yarn. So that's what this is. This is going to be a Lento sweater, which is traditionally made with one skein of like a fingering weight and then one skein of something fuzzy, either a mohair or a suri alpaca situation. And then you hold them together and you knit it on big needles. So I think the pattern calls for size 10 needles. I'm making mine on size 9. I'm just kind of playing around with it. So here she is. Can you see that? I guess you can. So this is 2 strands of the same color from my new collection, which is 28-3, which is, it is a color inspired by the New England Patriots of all things. I'm not really a football person, but I'm a fan of the Patriots when they are in the playoffs and then in the Super Bowl. And 28-3 is a reference to the 2017 Super Bowl, where the Patriots were down 28-3 against the Atlanta Falcons in the third quarter. And then something happened and they came back to score 31 consecutive points in the remainder of regulation time and then also in overtime. And they won the Super Bowl 34-28, which is crazy. And it is also the only Super Bowl still to have ever been decided in overtime. And it was the craziest thing I've ever seen to watch on TV. We were like, this is 8 years ago. And this is also like the last time in the past for good. But I remember I was at a party with some people and we were watching the game and we were like, like how are we gonna get home? Like let's plan our trip back, like let's figure out when the next train is or whatever. And then they scored. And then they scored. And then they scored. And it was absolutely crazy. So 28-3, it's this really lovely, like, the camera's making it look a little bit more intensely blue than it is, but it's kind of like a more muted blue, bluish purple-ish. So this is, I'm using both my BFL Blue Faced Leicester wool base and my mohair base in the same color for this. I can show you. Here they are. that's more accurate to what the color is. And I started this, yeah, a couple weeks ago, and I've already split for the sleeves, as you can see. Yeah, this one I guess is also a little bit see-through-y because it's like a bigger gauge. And I love this. I did put this down recently just because there's no deadline on this project. It's just for fun for me. I made it. I started it so that I would be knitting something. I'm really trying to work with my own yarn more often, which makes sense. But then also, like, it is going to get hot here, and it's definitely been more humid recently, and working with mohair when it's humid out is maybe the worst sensory thing I can think of when it comes to knitting. So, but I love this. I started it. So yes, if you're counting, this is me adding a sweater to my plans. But when it's ones that don't have a timeline, I don't consider them to be, to really count. So, is that true? I don't know. Like, will I finish that anytime soon? Probably not. Okay, now we're on to the one that I'm going to complain about. So, I started this last week. Last week was Memorial Day weekend, and I was like, why not just start something new? And I had bought this pattern. A friend of mine recommended this pattern to me. First of all, before I get into the complaining, let's admire my new project bag. It's Key Lime Pies. This is from Republica Unicornia. If you haven't turned on notifications for one of her launches yet and bought one of her bags, I don't know what to tell you. This is the sock project size bag because it fits, like, it opens up and it fits your sock project and the yarn itself. And her bags they're so good. They're so well made. They're all hand done. And she only releases drops every so often. So this one is Little Key Lime Pies, which is great. Anyway, so a friend was making this pattern and I saw it on their story and I was like, whoa, what is that? I want to make that. Can you recommend me the pattern? And she did. And okay, I'll just show you. Here it is. It's kind of, again, it's all bunchy on my needles. So just pretend that it's not. But this is going to be the Rib Lace Raglan by James N. Watts. And I have never made one of their patterns before, but they're a very popular designer, big designer, size inclusive, which I love. And my friend who I saw this, I was like, ooh, you know, what's that pattern? And they were like, oh yeah, like this pattern originally didn't have any neck shaping, but now there's a new version of it that does. So I started making that one and I was like, oh, cool. Sounds great. So I started it. It's fine. There's lace made with, you know, yarn overs and knit two togethers like this, which you can kind of see. And then the rest of it is just, it's kind of like a 3x3 situation. It's like knit 3 and then the lace pattern and then, and it's a raglan, so it has increases at the 4 shoulder points. And I've run into some challenges, and I am an experienced knitter, I would say. I don't think there's any pattern out there that this sounds cocky, but I truly don't think there's any pattern out there that I would look at and try to start and be like, no, this is too advanced for me. Some patterns are more advanced and are more of a challenge, but I do truly think that I could probably handle any pattern. And I'm not saying I can't handle this one, I can. But this pattern, for what it is, for what the product is, right? It's a raglan. It's got very easy to do lace. It just is not a well formatted pattern, in my opinion. So the neck shaping that I was talking about, you knit that in You knit that flat. So it kind of goes like around to here, but you don't join in the front. So it goes from like here around in the back. Great. And like, okay, so then you have to join in the round. And when you join in the round, you cast on some stitches, and then you are supposed to, this is where I got twisted up, and there's like a visible error in mine, which I'm not going back to fix. I don't care that much. Where you're supposed to slip a number of the stitches that you were already working. It's not clear how the joining in the round is supposed to work. Or like it would be clear if it was written out better, I think. It wasn't clear to me, and I'm good at this. You know what I mean? So that was like a little bit frustrating. And then I noticed as I was working this, so there's a number of sections, right? There's the neck shaping section. Then there is a first like raglan increasing section. Then there's another increasing section after that, and then it's the sleeves, like splitting for the sleeves. And there are no stitch counts anywhere. I don't know how else to say that, which is weird, right? Like, it tells you how many stitches to cast on, and it does tell you on increase rows, it tells you how many stitches you're increasing on that row. But I looked, and for the rest of the pattern, there is no stitch count for like, okay, I finished this raglan increase section. How many stitches am I supposed to have for my size? There's no, even for the sleeve separation, it just says like work to marker, slip sleeve stitches onto spare yarn to hold or whatever, keep working. Even like for the body, it tells you how many stitches to cast on under the sleeves, but that's it. There's no total stitch counts anywhere. And I was thinking, I was like, should I just go and do the math on this for myself? Like, I don't want to, because I shouldn't have to. I should have that number available to me from the designer so that I can go back and check. And like I could, like, okay, this row I increased 4 stitches, this row increases 8 stitches. I could do the math. But I shouldn't have to do that. There's also an issue. This is something that my other internet friend, Eva, whose channel and Instagram are under Stockinette love her. This is something that she talks about a lot. And this is the first time that I've seen a pattern where I've been like, yeah, 100% agree. The main, like this portion that I'm doing here where I have these progress markers, it's a 14 stitch repeat that you do. I should have it on me, but for my size, you have to do it 3 times total, the repeat. And it's all written out. The instructions are written out every single line, stitch by stitch. And Eva always says that she would much rather just have a chart for stuff like that. It's so much easier to follow just a chart that is well made than it is to read out every stitch like this. So it's like knit 2 together, knit 3, like it's and I totally agree. Even just for this repeat, just to have a chart that's like, this is what you do. And then it's like repeat, chart a X number of times for your size would be so helpful, because it's very confusing to look at. Especially like the lace section is like, the part that you're repeating is either knit 3, knit 2 together, yarn over, or knit 3, yarn over, knit 2 together. They're alternating. But when you're reading it out like line by line, that is so confusing to like try to make sure you're not messing that up. And I definitely have messed it up a couple times. So I'm not saying, I haven't finished this yet, obviously. I'm getting there. I'm in the 3rd of those repeats. And then I think there's like a few more rows before I can split for sleeves. And I'm having fun. I am. Like, I'm enjoying it. It's going pretty fast. But just for how big of a designer James is, and I've never designed a pattern before, but I feel like it's not that hard to be like, okay, you now have this many stitches. Even like, before you join in the round, like check to make sure that you have 180 stitches or however many, like I don't understand why we don't have that. And I double checked because I knew I wanted to talk about this, and I looked through the whole pattern. It's nowhere. Nowhere does it say you should have this many stitches for the sleeves. You should have this many stitches after this increase section. You should which, okay, I do understand. I know that sometimes it's hard for people to count yarn overs, but that shouldn't be a reason to not have your stitch counts. And I will say, I think that makes this pattern harder for a beginner knitter, because if they're like, oh, I'm encountering a problem, how many stitches am I supposed to have? And the pattern is like, figure it out. I don't know. And that's just really bothering me. So now I'm going to rage finish this project. I'm kidding. I'm not raging about it. I think the pattern's fine. I think it's well done, I guess. I like how it's got the raglan, so I like how the increases are incorporated into the raglan. Also this yarn. I've had this yarn for like a year and a half, and I hadn't done anything with it. This is As You Wish from Long Dog Yarn's Princess Bride collection, which I bought. I think it came out for pre-order like last February. Actually, I know it did because I remember buying it on a layover when I was coming back from Mexico last year. It's very pretty. It's like a neutral, but it has pops of green and orange and purple, it's really, really pretty. I was planning on doing something else with this yarn, and then I was like, you know what? And I had started it, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I'm really glad that I have transitioned to this. So this will be kind of more of another neutrally kind of, it's got like a little purple in it, but like a neutrally thing that I could wear over a tank top or over a bikini or something. Yeah, so I just want to make it clear. I'm enjoying the pattern. I'm excited for the final product. But as somebody that thinks about other people and how they might react to something, I just don't think this is it's not a well thought out pattern. I went into the Ravelry projects to see if anybody in there had any like notes about that, or any like hey, it was really annoying that there weren't any stitch counts or whatever. It's got like 500 projects on Ravelry because it's popular and James is a popular designer. And nobody else really said that. I didn't look at every single one, obviously. I'm not insane, and this is not that big of a deal. But it like made me long for the format of a different designer's pattern. You know what I mean? Like a more thorough pattern from somebody else. And I just want to say, like, if the knitter who hasn't looked at the back end of this pattern, I don't know anything about its production, I'm 100% confident that if I wanted to, I could go through and like figure out all the stitch counts for all the sizes, because like it's easy. You just add. Like, oh, like this raglan repeat of 14 rounds increases like 20 stitches times by whatever, like easy. So I don't know why that didn't happen with this, and it's kind of pissing me off. And I'm not afraid to say that, because if you want people to be successful at making your garments, you should give them the tools for that success. And one of those tools is adding stitch counts. And in my opinion for this, another tool is making a chart for this. Just be like, between markers, you do this. Easy. Straightforward, I think. Especially if you're a larger designer and this is what you do and this is like your livelihood, maybe try to make your patterns as accessible to people as possible. Those are all my thoughts for this video. I told myself this would be like a half an hour video. I think it's going to be a lot longer than that. So, of course it is. Anyway, happy Pride Month. Go support a local organization that is supporting trans youth in particular, because their rights are being stripped away at every level of the government. If you want to do that by buying my yarn, like I talked about, go ahead. Happy June. Go outside. Touch grass. Love you. Bye-bye.